Welcome to the Sleevy G Show. I'm the host with the most. My name is Gomez, and tonight, as usual, we do have a wonderful musical guest tonight. And I have the vocals and rhythm guitar of Pharmacose, Wes Jones. Wes, how you doing tonight, buddy?
Good. How are you?
Doing awesome, doing awesome. Thank you for coming on the show tonight. I know it was
Yeah, no
kind of like a
problem.
short notice type of thing. We just set this up last weekend, and I really appreciate you
Yeah, it's
coming out.
okay.
Appreciate you coming on. I got to thank Tom and Tracy from Tag Productions for making this kind of happen a little bit. It's
Yeah.
exciting times, man. I've actually interviewed a few musical guests from them, and I keep working with them as much as I can.
Yeah, no, they're great. They've been great to work with. I talk to them quite a bit. So this is they've really done a lot of good for me. So
Well,
and continuing to do so.
and here I am. You know what I mean? I'm a little show that I just started this year, and I've been working very well with them. So I'm thankful for the
Yeah.
opportunities that I've had with them and having you on tonight. Now, here it comes. Can't even speak tonight because I'm nervous.
It's okay.
Pharmacose.
That's
Let's
it.
talk. Let's talk about the name. How did you come up with the name with the band? That's going to be my first question for you.
Yeah, so Pharmacose is it's like a combination of pharmacy and comatose. Um, Pharmacose, I kind of started it back in 2017. After I've been writing and doing music for years, and grew up playing music, and um, but tried to kind of produce myself, and over the years, and been in bands, and nothing really kind of hit. So or I couldn't really keep anybody together. So I moved to Jacksonville, and I'd kind of let things go, and was just deciding on just kind of being more career oriented. And unfortunately, I didn't know at the time I'm bipolar, and so I
Oh,
had a manic episode, and things really got tough for a while, and so that kind of when big things in your life happen like that, it
hmm.
kind of makes you think your mortality, and what you want out of life and what you really want to do. So I decided wanted to kind of get back into music, and so I put pharmacy and comatose together because I was at a time when like the meds were working that I was on, and I was on the
Right.
right path back to kind of living a normal life. But
Hmm.
um I kind of they I was still kind of not 100%. So
Okay.
I was kind of in this blah phase of my life, and so I just kind of it was kind of a spur of the moment thing that I just thought of, and it was kind of a reflection of where I was at the time, and I'm much better now. I'm couldn't be happier right now these days, but it just kind of felt like a good word. It
No,
was kind of
definitely.
unique, and you start thinking about names for bands, and you're like, oh, I wonder if that's taken. And you Google it, oh shit, and then
Yeah.
you think of something else, and you Google it, it's like, oh shit.
It's like,
So I
God
really had
damn.
to.
Yep. I know. Trust me.
So
It
I
took me a
really
while to
had
figure
to
out
just,
with my show's name too. So trust me, I understand.
yeah. So I just, I just kind of put all that together, and yeah, so came up with Pharmacose, and it seems to fit. So,
And let me tell you, you have some great tunes. I was able to listen to a couple of the
oh,
albums
thanks.
today, and let me tell you, you and Lucio Rubio, who's your bassist,
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
first of all,
Well, it's really,
no,
yeah.
go ahead.
So I'll just say that we were a band, and now it's kind of me and him helping out some. Like COVID kind of messed everything up.
Yeah.
Um, so we were going to start the record we released. I ended up only releasing last year, but
Mhm.
we were going to release it, as right as COVID was beginning, and had a bunch of shows booked, and that all fell apart. And then our drummer and lead guitarist had to leave, kind of had to move on, and pursue other things. And so right now it's me mostly doing everything, and I do a song with him every now and again too. So
Right.
But yeah, so he and I still do some work together. But yeah, Lou's great.
I mean, he's it's kind of funny. You guys have known each other for quite some time and worked with together, and
Yeah,
he's also done. He's a veteran producer. I see. He worked with Paramore,
yeah,
uh, Gray Days, and the Showdown. Just to name a few bands. You know what I mean? It just
yeah.
seems like you guys work very well together because listening to the music, like I did, um, can be really, I say, therapeutic. I'm a
Hmm.
guy who does have anxiety ever since COVID. Really, my
Hmm.
anxiety has gone up, and I like the fact what you guys are trying to do is show people that there's things can be overcome no matter what kind of, if it's mental illness or anxiety or depression, that you're trying to fight through things. And that's a true power. Like I love raising awareness, so this is something, when I was reading up you guys a little bit, I was really like stoked to have you on, because it's something that I love to talk about, is raising awareness. Just from it doesn't matter if it's mental health or helping somebody out or showing people that way, you know what I mean. And that's something I
Hmm.
encourage, you know what I mean. And one thing on my show, I love to laugh, I like to joke around, but the I could say music is a power of healing too. It has some kind of
Hmm.
power over a lot of people. I know, like, if I am having a crappy day at work and I'm coming home to my family, I pull I call it as the chill music. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
It's just, sometimes it's just a piano playing, or just like a low vibe band, like a jam band, something low, nothing major. But listening to your stuff at work, um, I was really like grooving it and digging it. You know what I mean? Like, people can gravitate to you a little bit. And I think I did more just because of my anxiety, and I
Hmm.
felt like I was able to understand some of the stuff that you guys were singing, you know what I mean? And your guys' voices were just amazing, you know what I mean? You guys sounded really good. I love, I just love everything about the band.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Well, it's funny. One thing is, for me coming up from New Jersey, I'm not a huge musician. First of all, I couldn't play a guitar worth a lick. You know what I mean? I play a mean air guitar, but that's
Oh,
about
I
it.
bet you could. I bet you could.
I mean,
Don't sell yourself short.
I mean, I played saxophone and clarinet back in the days, you know what I mean, of my growing up.
Hmm.
But to learn to play drums, guitar, bass, anything, and even have vocals to sing is an amazing thing. And for you to overcome what you're overcoming, is an amazing feat, man. I mean, Wes, being in a mental state of where you came from and what you're doing is an unbelievable thing. And I think you should be really proud of what you're doing, man. And I thank you for
I
doing what you're
appreciate
doing.
you saying that.
I mean, I've seen some people overcome a lot of things on my show. A great example is a gentleman. His name is Luke. He came over a drug habit, real bad.
Hmm.
Like, we're talking big time coke habit.
Yeah.
Just this September, he did his 365 year, his 1 year sobriety, and he's going strong.
Wow. Yeah, that's great. That's
So
great.
so things like that always, it's very uplifting on my show. You know what I mean? So that's why
Hmm.
I was so excited when I was able to talk to Tracy and Tom about this with you, and I was so excited to hear from you the other day when you said, "I can't wait, man," and I'm like, I can't either, because it's something different. You know what I mean? And you guys are trying to do more than just music. You're also raising awareness in the music, which I feel like that kind of genre has left a little bit. Um, I'm more of a 90s
Yeah.
guy. I'm more of a 90s guy, but I feel
Hmm.
like the messages are not what it used to be back in the day. I could say that much.
No, I agree. I think there was I love '90s music too, man, and I mean I love everything really, but I don't want to say that music these days is more vapid.
Hmm.
I don't want to go that far, but I think that um, there's just this. Well, let's take it a step back. I think it's just the paradigm of music and how it's
Right.
made these days. I think you've got to continually like get people's attention if you want to get any attention as an artist, And it's not like you back in the days where you just released a record and hope for the best.
Right.
Um, these days, it's like you got to release music constantly, and and the way to kind of keep people's attention, I think, is just to. Oh, sorry about that.
That's all
There we
right.
go. Um, I think the way you got to keep people's attention is just, yeah, I think a lot of people drift back into talking about, the typical stuff you talk about in music,
Mm,
love and parties and all that kind of thing. I think when you're having to come out with a lot of music once a month and all this, it's easy to drift back into that.
right.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I'm not judgmental about it at all.
Mm,
Um, I think that it's more a function of where we're at just in music and how things are shaking out. But I chose to do it a little differently because, as I did want to kind of raise awareness, and part of it is raising awareness, and part of it is I just wanted to get my story off my chest, and
right.
that was that first record, Prescription Fiction, and
Mm,
and I didn't want anybody to feel like I felt like when I was at my rock bottom,
mhm,
and I just felt like I felt all alone. I felt like I felt like my life was over, and it fortunately it wasn't, and it was just over 6 years ago that happened. And and the journey back wasn't always it wasn't always the easiest thing, but once you kind of get on the path and you just stick to it, and just say, I'm not going to do this and I'm not going to do that, and I am going to do this and I am going to do that, things get easier,
mhm.
and life's never going to be a cakewalk, right?
No.
And that's one thing you have to accept. And you know, um, I just wanted people to know that there was at least one person out there that kind of felt them and understood where they were at, and that look, there's there's ways to come back out of this, and you can
Mm,
overcome it. I mean, it takes effort, but you can, and you just have to make that decision. So, and if you think about it, music, when you're listening to music alone, at least in my, I made a lot of decisions in my life when I was listening to music by myself.
mhm,
And so you're speaking to somebody who is, it's almost like I kind of wanted the songs to be like a conversation, almost like me just saying, hey, this is where I'm at, and hopefully, and I'm better now, and hopefully you can be too. So.
yeah. And that's a powerful message, is saying, look at me, I'm telling you through my words, I'm doing great. I'm getting better. I
Mhm.
shouldn't say doing great, but I'm
Right.
getting better and better every day.
Right.
It's kind of funny. It's like in the movie, I hate to I bust out Rocky Balboa when he's yelling at his son. The world isn't filled with sunshines and rainbows. It really isn't. There
No,
is some things,
it's not.
and he's right. It's not how hard you get hit. It's how hard you get hit and how hard it is to get back up. And it's not easy. There's times where, not just you but myself, I feel like I hit rock bottom, and I feel like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this?
Hmm.
And I'm luckily to have not one, not two, but three strong rocks in my life. And that's my wife,
That's
my
great.
daughter, and my son. If it wasn't for
Hmm.
them, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing right now. Like, everyone sees me doing this because I love what I do here, and
Hmm.
this is like my outlet
I can
to,
tell.
yeah, this is like my outlet to do things, you know what I mean? Like, listen, I know I'm not Howard Stern or, these bigger name podcasts, that can get anybody they want.
Oh, you don't have to be, man.
But you know what? For me, being here in New Jersey, and if I could just get a little piece of that little market saying, "Hey, look what I'm doing," I'm stoked. I mean, I started this in January this year.
Hmm.
I mean, this is not my first podcast. This is my second, but this is my first
Right.
on my own.
Hmm.
Excuse me. For me to break over 1,000 downloads before the end of the year, to have over 60 subscribers on YouTube in under a year, for me, it was, wow,
Hmm.
I'm so excited. I'm nearing 50 episodes. Things like that mean so much to me. Like, sharing everyone's story is what it is. I guess it's like, you
Hmm.
call it like a mini behind the music or behind anything, you know what I mean? It's like the behind anything stories. And
Hmm.
it's been an honor to have people like you come on, because it just shows like everyone has a story to tell.
Yeah. I think, and the cool thing is, like, if you're in my, so like I was talking about earlier how, we were a band and we're not as
Mhm.
much anymore. And so I've kind of been doing a lot of the production stuff. I've kind of been doing on my own, and
Mhm.
I'd say probably 80% of the songs I do by myself these days, and
Okay.
that's just because he's busy. He's a full time producer,
Mhm.
Lou, and it's easy for me to work at night. So we just kind of get. But I guess what I'm trying to say is that you know I have, this is kind of like my way of speaking out and having a voice, and kind of like
Mhm.
how you're having a voice right now, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? And it's nice to have just some sort of way for you to kind of just say what you want to say,
Yeah.
and unadulterated, not feel like you have to muzzle yourself in any way. I mean, you say you have 50, yeah, just however many you subscribe. Think about how many subscribers you're gonna have next year, man.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's the big thing is you got to enjoy the process, and that's
Mhm.
what I've learned recently.
Yeah.
Is that when you really enjoy what you're doing, and you don't think so much about the destination. You can visualize it. It's great to visualize it.
Yes.
I think the visualization is very powerful, but don't get hung up on it,
Right.
and just kind of stay doing what you're doing. I think just finding the joy in it is really what makes the magic happen. Um, uh, I don't know if you. I was listening to a speech every now and again. I like to listen to motivational speeches,
Mhm.
and Matthew McConaughey. I don't know if he's got a pretty good speech about this, and he said that he was, I forget what movie he was talking about, but before he won an Academy Award, he was like, man, I just I feel like I've got to do it like this. I've got to do it like this. I have to be
Mm.
successful at this movie, and blah 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 blah. And he said that mindset wasn't getting him anywhere. And so when he just kind of decided he was going to go in there and have fun and enjoy doing what he's doing, that's when things really got good for him.
And that's
And
something, and that's important too, because one thing I learned from my previous podcast and what I'm doing now, and I had fun. And I mean, I had a lot of fun doing my the other podcast. It was
mm-hmm,
it's called Playlist Wars. It was two best friends and a special guest. You get, say, the cars,
yeah,
you write down your top 10 car songs and why you have it where it is and stuff like that. My buddy Brian is a music encyclopedia. Like he could tell you who was the first guitarist of Queen, you know what I mean? He could say he
mm-hmm,
knew stuff like that. Me, I have more of the streamline, but my niche was I brought movies and video games and stuff like that into the conversations.
mm-hmm,
So like that's how I got, dubbed, but I also felt like I had more to say and more to
mm-hmm.
do. And I'm also a blogger too. I like to
Oh,
blog.
cool, yeah.
So it was kind of funny. Like I have a notebook. I'm not gonna lie. I have a notebook right here.
No, no, there's nothing
Um,
wrong with that, man.
but because I wanted to take some notes for tonight, and to bring up some stuff that
Hmm.
we're definitely hitting on almost everything I had. But I also take notes on what's my next blog going to be about. And people,
Hmm.
what I do is that I'm unedited. I don't edit. People can curse, drop the fuck bomb. I don't give a shit, because that's me. That's my true
Right.
self. That's what I'm about. So I had people go to me, well, your blogs, some of your words. I'm like, well, listen, I'm not going to correct it. I don't care about the spelling, but I'll be honest with you, that's me shooting from the hip. That's who I am.
Yeah,
And I am who I am, and I love who I am and how I do things. And
that's great. Yeah.
listen, would I love to be like Howard Stern, big like that? Oh hell yeah. I'd love to be the king of shock jocks, but I ain't getting up there with him, because he's got that all dialed in very well. But if I could just help a piece
Not
of
with
the
that
world,
attitude.
nah, nah. He's bigger than me, and it's kind of funny. That's like a pipe dream. But for me to get recognized like, oh my God, what a great
Mhm.
show. Or people on YouTube have commented like, wow, what a show. You know what I mean? For me, that's my gratification.
Mhm.
Even if I get to help 0.01% of the people in the world, and
Mhm.
they listen and they read and they watch, I feel like I did my job right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's funny. There was a one saying that always got stuck with me, and I'm not gonna and I'm gonna quote this one. It's from my favorite TV show back in the '80s, Knight Rider. One man can make a difference,
Yeah.
and it's true. You know, I think that if you could be one man who can make a difference in somebody's life, that means you did something right.
Oh, I know. I wholeheartedly agree, and I think that imagine if 10, 1 out of every if 10% of the population felt like that,
Mhm.
I think we'd be in a pretty good spot. But I think I think what I was going back to, I think there is a lot of power and visualization, and so I think that's what is important to kind of inspire people like you're talking about, and
Mhm.
what I'm talking about, and because I think that it's easy for people, for us to get stuck in these kind of negative thought patterns, and
Mhm.
these ways of thinking about ourselves and the world, because
Yep.
I think that it's easy to blow it off and be like, yeah, whatever. That's just how I'm thinking. That's just how things go on in my head. But I feel like your mind is a really funny thing,
It is.
because you can train it just like it can train you. And it's funny how our lives kind of manifest like the thoughts we that go on in our head, and
Mhm.
we so if I think I do really think, and we can get into this, because this is what a lot of the music going forward is kind of be about, like I really do think that there is some sort of unknown variable that's going on. And you talk about, it's funny. Arnold Schwarzenegger, I was listening to. I like kind of motivational speeches. I gotta listen to those every now and again on
Same
YouTube,
here.
and Arnold's got the best ones by far. And he one thing I noticed about him is that all of his speeches, he talks about, he said, I saw myself where I wanted to be the whole
Mhm.
time. I saw myself where I wanted to be.
Right.
And he said that he never, uh, spending 5 or 6 hours in the gym never bothered him, because he knew every time, for each rep he did, he was getting him one step closer to being on that podium.
Mhm.
And so I feel like those kind of positive ways of thinking, I really do think that there's something to that will push you in that direction. And I'm not saying we're all going to be like Arnold, or
God,
but
I'd give anything to be like
um
Arnold, but
and the same thing is, the converse is true. If you're just sitting there thinking, man, I can't do this, I can't do that, what's the point? I trust me, I've been there, and it didn't
mhm.
do anything for me.
No.
So even if you don't believe that there's nothing else going on other than the even if you don't believe that there's some sort of power behind that, still, that why would you want to live in that kind of negative world? You know what I
Right.
mean? That
No,
that
I
you
totally agree
create for
with you.
yourself. And
I mean, I could say I had some part of my life of depression where before I got married, I was just like all my friends were married with their kids, and I was pretty much the last one
hmm
almost. And it's like, shit, why is this not happening for me? Why am I not a good looking guy? Am I too still too young? Am I still doing
hmm
stupid young shit? You know what I mean? When do you grow up? And it took me a while to find what I got to do. And it's funny, like how you listen to inspirational podcasts or speeches. Like for me, there's a lot of movies that I actually listen to. One of my favorite movies is with
hmm
Al Pacino, and not the greatest movie, but it was Any Given Sunday. And how he's
yeah.
saying at the end of the movie, right before the big game, is like how he pissed his money away, but he doesn't want
hmm
this team to do that. He's saying that speech is like, I will crawl for that single inch for you if you crawl with me. That 1 inch
hmm
is what makes you live or die. It's going to make you
yeah.
a family, or you're going to die as an individual. And that's something like
Yeah.
I take to heart because it reminds me back of my football days. And when I played high school football, I actually came to a crossroad. You know, I didn't think I was good enough to play high school regular American football. I always played soccer. You know, I was more of a
Mm-hmm.
soccer kind of guy, but I tried it, and my head coach said, I'll never forget it. It was my end of my sophomore year. It was the summer before I became a junior in high school, and he was showing me his offensive starting line for my coming junior year. And there was
Mm-hmm.
my name behind the other guy. I'm like, okay. I said, what do I need to do to get my name in the starting position? He's like, you
Mm-hmm.
trust me? I said, Coach, I'll do whatever it takes. We went into a gym, Wes, when I said 110 degrees inside the gym. While the team was lifting, after I would do all my lifting with the team and the team was still lifting, I would go upstairs for 45 minutes and jog
Mm-hmm.
upstairs to get my stamina up, lose the weight, but become faster, but mentally stronger. I think the
It's
time
that's
I
it. It's the mentally.
it's the
It's
mental.
that we can. I'll let you finish, but we can get back to that.
Oh yeah, it's the mental thing. But I also remember one thing though. After 3 weeks of by myself, I noticed one teammate would come up with me, then two teammates, three, four. Then it was the whole team at one point within a week. And that's
That's
something that
awesome.
when you see that, I didn't inspire anybody to come with me. They did it themselves. They're seeing me put
Mm-hmm.
the work in. And I think from there, I felt like we were a family, a brotherhood. And mentally, we said we could do anything together and not be individuals. And we almost did. We almost won the state championship that year. You know
Oh
what I mean?
wow.
For us, because we mentally willed it. We came up, we're a small Catholic high school. We're going against big dogs, you know what I mean? And we went in
Mm-hmm.
and we took on everybody. I think our record ended up being 9-1 or 8-2. I can't remember. Oh, 8-2, 8-2. And
Oh wow.
we tied for the league with a three-way tie, and we went to the state finals. So things like that
Wow.
is, you know, mentally preparing. And now we can get back to what we're talking about is mentally being ready, mentally being prepared. How do you define
Mm-hmm.
that moment?
Yeah. So I think you were talking about when you were doing that extra 45 minutes and you were saying about how, yeah, it was making you physically stronger, but really it's the mental part of it. I
Mm-hmm.
think that is what people like. I mean, I've been, so I do jujitsu,
Okay.
and that's kind of like one of the things I do to kind of um stay in shape, and
Mm-hmm.
I martial arts is something I really enjoy. But I think that if you go into, even if you're just sparring with a teammate, if you go into, we call it rolling, if you go into a roll and you're just not feeling it, and you're thinking, man, I just, I don't know that I have it today. Like, you're not going to have it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, which is fine, which is cool. You don't have to have it every day.
No.
Nobody's saying that you have to, but I remember there have been times where I'm a blue belt, hopefully going to be a purple belt soon. That I've been rolling with a brown belt, and like I felt like I had an opportunity to tap him, and I almost would have, but I kind of just at the last second just bailed because I didn't think I could do it. And and of course, and so that's, I don't know why we as humans do that. It's like we can get to the point where we're about to do something cool or do something great, and then we just bail. And we just decide at the last second we can't do it. And that still happens to me. And so I think that's where the mental toughness comes in, and that's where also the belief in oneself comes in. Because I think that was sort of the next progression for me to kind of figure out what I wanted to do with the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I've still got my career and all that, but I think you have to, you just kind of have to trust yourself, and even if nobody else does around you, um, because it's just that belief, and that mental stamina. I mean, you can be the toughest guy in the world. You can be 7 foot tall and 350 pounds of pure muscle. But if you don't
Yeah.
think you can do something, you can't do it, man. And um, I don't know. It took me a while to kind of figure that out, and I've only really figured it out recently. More motivational stuff, but that's that the David Goggins guy. He talks about that a lot. He says that it's not about necessarily how strong you are; it's how strong your mind is.
And
And
that's
because
something.
I'm telling you, man, if you can really train your mind to say, hey, look, this is all just a bunch of BS. Don't worry about that. You're tougher than this. You can keep going. Just go. Just keep going.
Yeah.
Then that's kind of the great equalizer, I think, in a lot of ways. And it just comes with the power of belief and the power in yourself, belief in yourself. And there comes a point where it's funny how like you're trying to get good at something, and like you get frustrated because you've been doing it for I don't know a year or so, and you're kind of plateaued out, or you don't think you're getting better. But then one day you realize like, hey, I'm not too bad at this, and that's when things really start to take off. I don't know if that you've ever noticed that.
I have. I mean, I actually right
Yeah.
around August, I hit a little point of my podcasting career where the numbers weren't there. Blogs were not
Mm-hmm.
coming out right. It was hard to find guests to come on to talk. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it sometimes it does become a little bit of a rut. Um, I came through a crossroads of that point, and I said, listen, if I'm gonna fail, I'm gonna fail it the right way. If I keep trying harder.
Yeah.
If people don't want to come on, then I will then put a nice note and I will do a video saying, thank you for the memories, thank you for the podcasting family. And then something happened. Like a bolt of lightning hit me in the ass. September
Mm-hmm.
came around, people were coming. I actually have signed with a podcasting network in October.
Oh, that's great, man.
Unfiltered Studios is now the new home of the Sleepy G with some great shows over there. Pedals of Support, Hypno Wellness. So it's it's a great bunch of people right there that do
Mm-hmm.
different things and share great stories. And to be a part of that podcast family for me was amazing because I never thought it would ever happen. And then the numbers are going up, people are recognizing it, people are reaching out to me
Mm-hmm.
saying how much they love the shows and stuff like that. That means to me that at least even if I have like 10% people listen to it, I'm ecstatic. Like I'm so
Mm-hmm.
grateful. Like I'm grateful for where I'm at right now. Just
Mm-hmm.
like where you are. You're grateful. You're doing something that you love to do, like I do. People
Yeah.
ask me, why don't I get paid for this? Because it's not about the money. It never
Right.
will be. Hey, listen, if
That'll
someone offered,
come. If the money's meant to happen, it'll
yeah,
come. It'll come.
exactly. Listen, if someone came
So.
up to me and say, hey, I'm offering you $100,000 a year job in your show, yeah, hi, sure, where do I sign? But we have to read the stipulations. But
Hmm.
what I love what I do with the Unfiltered Studios, yeah, I'm the creative voice of my own show. They help me
There you go.
they help me spread my word out. You know what I mean? As long as I'm helping them, they help me. And that's, like family. We're all there for each other. I mean,
Hmm.
it's been an incredible ride, and here I am, we're almost done with the year, coming close to 23, coming end of the year, and I'm I'm kicking ass and taking names is the best way I could say it.
That's great. That's great.
I'm
Yeah.
on.
Well, just keep pressing forward, man. Just keep on. And
Yeah.
and like what you said about gratitude, that's another thing. I mean, I know it's kind of that word is probably people cringe at it a little bit because there's so much. It's a word that gets repeated over and over and over, and wellness
Mhm.
people and especially when like corporations kind of are promoting wellness to their people who are really burnt out, which is I don't know, it's a whole separate thing, and instead of paying them more or making them work less. But
Mhm.
that's a whole separate thing. But
Yeah, it
anyway,
is.
But gratitude is actually, I mean, it really is an important thing, because it was going back to what I said about, Matthew McConaughey's speech,
Mhm.
what I've known too is that once, I used to worry about, I've been getting some more listeners too, and it's been great. And I think part of that is too that, I used to just worry about, why people aren't listening, blah 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 blah. And then at some point, I just kind of realized that, um, even if I'm never able to do this full time,
Mhm.
it's okay, because, if you're with a record company or something like that, you may not have total creative freedom. They may say, "Hey, man, we want you to do this. We want you to do that. We want you to do things like this." And
Right.
me, brother, I've got carte blanche. I can do whatever the fuck I want. So, and I can write
Yeah.
whatever I want. I can speak about how, things, in a very unfiltered way. And I don't have any of that to worry about. And so once you kind of start to look on the bright side of your situation, and then all of a sudden things became really fun.
Yeah.
And because I'm not tied down to any one thing. And yeah, Lou and I work together some still, which is great. But I don't, like I said earlier, it's always been hard for me to keep bands together for whatever reason. Keeping four people together is never an easy thing. It's just not.
No, it's not.
And
It's
I
hard.
don't think yeah, it's hard. And so, but if you're in a group with four people, your creativity is going to be watered down to an extent.
Mhm.
Unless it's known that you are the one creative person, then, and everybody else is just going to kind of, play their parts or whatever, which for some bands do that. But, you're going to be making some compromises in your vision, and it's okay to compromise some. Like that's fine. You
Mhm.
got to meet people halfway. But, it's also fun when you don't have to at all.
Right.
And, that's kind of when I understood that, and when I just kind of realized that I could start talking about all this wonky stuff that I'm going to start talking about, um, in the future and future songs,
Mhm.
that once you realize that, then things became fun. And then that's when it just, I don't really care if success is around the corner or not. I'm just going to kind of keep doing it and
Yeah.
doing my thing, and hoping people listen and enjoy. So.
And that's the same thing I'm at, you know what I mean? It's like someone told me this, when it starts becoming work, the fun's gone.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
and it's true. When it starts to becoming to be more of your job and you're not having fun doing what you're doing, then maybe you have to step away for a little bit. You know, I do take
Yeah.
repeated time off too when I need to. Went I went strong from January to the beginning of July. I took the whole month of July off and I came back in August, you
Yeah,
know.
good, man. I mean, that's what I released this latest record in August 18th. And,
Mhm.
oh, sorry, the
That's
monitor keeps
okay.
turning off. August 18th. And, I like I said, you got to keep releasing music, and kind of how things work these days with just streaming, and how the music business is.
Mhm.
It's just how it is with, how streaming works and algorithms and whatnot. But I was like, man, I need a break. So
And
I just I've kind of been taking some time off, and I know I'm back writing now, and I'm going to start releasing songs again in January.
nice,
Um,
nice.
and we can talk about that a little if you want. But,
Yeah, just
um, taking some time off and just recharging, nothing wrong with that, dude.
no, I mean, I'm getting to the month of, we're in November right now, and I know this is probably released in a little bit in December, but it's kind of funny with December coming around the corner. I'm gonna take the time and enjoy it with the family. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah, of course.
I mean, I'm still gonna be releasing material throughout December, but
Hmm.
I'm not recording. I'm gonna be enjoying, if something comes up big, I'm like, oh hell yeah, I gotta do it. But
Yeah.
other than that, I am going to enjoy the time with the family because I did that in July. And I'll tell you this,
Hmm.
best vacation I've had in a long time. It was the first time I think I was able to
That's
let go.
great.
It's the first time I think I was able to let go of a lot of stuff. Was able to sleep in until like 8:30 in the morning. My son and my daughter would wake me up. I'm like, Daddy. I'm like, oh, it's that
Hmm.
time already. So spending those 10 days with them is an incredible thing. I
Hmm.
work every day. I'm a 7 to 5 guy, 7 to 12. I'm a
Wow.
55 to 60 hour a week guy. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
I do this on the side. Figure that one out. And I blog. It's
Yeah.
like a lot. And it's funny. Like sometimes, like when it's slow at work, I'll start jotting ideas in my notebook. Like I did a bucket list. You know what I mean? Like things
Hmm.
that I would love to do. One of my places is to go to Notre Dame, to the College of Notre Dame, to go catch one
Yeah.
football game.
Cool. Yeah.
It's a bucket list.
There you go.
Um, Disney with the kids, because I've been to Disney without the kids. Um,
Hmm.
it, you know, what another one would be like, who would be somebody I would love to interview, high celebrity status, and who would,
Hmm.
what sports figure, what rock musician or what musician, anything like that. And it's my story, it's my life. I
Hmm.
one of my stories I wrote, one of my blogs, I believe it was, who is your hero and why. And I chose my father. Unfortunately, I lost my father almost
Cool. Yeah.
20 some odd years ago to stomach cancer. I was
Oh.
21 years
Oh
old.
man, I'm sorry to hear that.
Thank you.
Jeez.
It was 23 years ago now, to the day, in November. It's actually be 24 years now. So I take that back. 24 years now in November. This coming November. And one thing I've learned that my dad did was work hard. He
Hmm.
really installed that in me, and my uncle, and my mom too. But something that my dad, I always noticed my dad doing, was taking care of his wife and his kid, and he never took
Hmm.
care of himself. He was dead last. Clothes didn't matter. Shoes could have holes in them, as long as he was able to wear them, he would wear them. You know what I mean? He
Hmm.
would work he was actually a waiter. He would work from 12 at lunch to 1 o'clock in the morning. Come home, sleep for a few
Wow.
hours, get up in time for cook me breakfast or make breakfast, hang out with me for half an hour before school, and take me to school and do his job. Um,
Hmm.
and that's why, I said my dad was one of my heroes. My mom is too, don't get me wrong, but seeing my dad, what he's done, and my mom too. I mean, she's worked her butt off. There's days she had meetings, she would work at 7 a.m. She didn't get home till 10 o'clock at night. You know,
Yeah.
and
Jeez.
and and I'm lucky to have my wife, who she's a teacher. She's out of here by quarter to, 7:15, 7:30 the latest, to drive probably a half an hour away from here to do her teaching job and then drive home. Luckily, she has the summers
Hmm.
off to be with the kids, but it's hard. I mean,
Yeah.
I feel that when I'm home and I can spend time with them, it's a joyful time. And this is why I record late at night, because I'm spending that time before they go to bed. Um, you
No,
know,
yeah, no, this is where you get work done. This
you know,
I'm with you on that, man. Like I 9 to 12 is my studio hours pretty much.
yeah, 9 to 8:30 to about 9:30, quarter to 10, until I have everything saved and recorded. It's pretty much my
Hmm.
time. And then once I'm done, I won't work on it until the next day or 2 days later. Like, here's a great example. This week I jammed three episodes in 5 days. I did one Wednesday.
Wow.
I'm with you right now, and I got another one Sunday night. So
Awesome.
I'm just trying to make sure I have enough material to go into the new year. Like, I actually have a returning celebrity guest, that celebrity in New Jersey, and we're gonna do do's and
Hmm.
don'ts of New Year's Eve. I got a Christmas episode I'm doing next week on a Sunday, because my daughter wants to come on.
Oh,
So
fun.
so these are the things that I love to do. And it brings everyone joy. And my family's been a great support system, my wife too, and my in-laws, my mom. And hearing how proud everyone is of me is like an amazing thing. Even with the
Yeah,
podcast
man.
family and the podcasts and people who are hearing the show and listening, to it's great to hear people tell how good I'm doing, and that makes me feel
Yeah, man.
powerful, I guess, is the key word. So little by little, but Now you just
As
said you
long as you
were.
enjoy doing it, though, man. As
Oh,
long as you enjoy doing it, though, that's the main thing.
I enjoy every minute of it. Whenever I can, no matter who it could be the biggest guest or the smallest guest. I enjoy every single minute of it because we're talking about what they love, celebrating what you do,
Hmm.
and enjoying each other's company. That's why, before I hit record, I always break the ice a little bit, BS for a couple of minutes, and then we get right in it.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
so everyone feels comfortable. You know what I mean? Doesn't I don't want to be in that. Well, what do you like to do? Are you you like to play tennis? Not like that. Just like, hey, shit. You know, you said earlier you got you're writing music now for the new year. So
Yeah.
you're in the midst of now writing and you're going to be recording very shortly, I'm assuming, for the new year, or
Well, no. So I'm actually recording. I do a lot of the recording, but in my house now.
oh,
So,
okay.
well, this is my studio. So I've got, you see the sound panels up, so it
Yes.
actually sounds pretty good in here. And so I actually probably, so like the last, so this is part two of the record. Part one is when I released in August, and
Mhm.
that had 9 songs on it. 7 of them
Yes.
I did by myself, and 2 of them I did with Lou.
Okay.
And I'll probably do 3 with Lou on this one, and maybe 2 or 3, and then I'll do the rest myself. This is one of the one I'm working on one with him, but we kind of have to do it over the course of a few sessions. And like,
Hmm.
I'll go down there to, he's in St. Augustine. I'll go down there for,
Okay.
a few hours, and we'll work. And then that might take a few sessions to get the song done. But while we're doing that, well, I'll have songs I'm doing on my own here, and talking about just how to kind of keep up with the monthly release schedule. You just kind
Hmm.
of have to just bang stuff out, and it's good to do that anyway. You don't want to. It took me 3 years to get this project started, like this new record, because I was just learning how to do all this. But now
Yeah.
that I kind of have a pretty good idea of how to do things on my own, I'm talking like just recording well and actually doing the mixing too. Now that I feel like I've got a handle on everything, that I'm going to be able to just crank stuff out a little bit more quickly. But
Cool.
but yeah, so that's the plan right now. Um, yeah, just I don't know if I kind of told you that it's kind of following a storyline. So I was writing a book to go along with it too, but that became
Oh,
kind of cumbersome. So I wrote part of it, but and I still might go back and write it, but
sometimes it takes you need
um,
a little break from from the book writing
yeah.
to the music writing. Then after you're done with some music writing, you'll probably go back to the book writing. That I always
Yeah, well,
encourage
so
people.
what I'm going to do now is I'm at least going to have like, so in the when I was writing the chapters to go along with each song, like whatever was going on in the chat in the book at that time in that chapter, it's kind of what the song was about,
Hmm.
and or at least kind of that vibe, or that
Hmm.
same kind of emotion. Um, that's what the songs were about, and so I'm still going to be kind of doing that in a way. It's just going to be more very condensed scenes that I'm going to write, just to kind of keep the storyline going. And
Nice.
then I'll obviously have the song with it, but that became a lot to try to do it all together. But like I was talking about before, you got to have just material to kind of keep putting out songs.
Hmm.
And I don't want to go back to having to write about love songs and party songs.
No, I got you. I got
So
you.
and so I felt like, if I wrote a story to go along with it, I'd always have something to talk about.
Mhm.
And so that's kind of where this breaks off from the prescription fiction, the first record, I did a little bit, but I still am going to have themes about mental health and all that. It's just going to be more of an allegory.
Okay.
And I'm also going to kind of bring in some, just first off, it's just fun.
Hmm.
I like kind of sci-fi stuff, and that's what this kind of is. Sci-fi, cyberpunkish type deal, and but I'm framing some I think some real world issues
Hmm.
in there too, to kind of explore that. So, but yeah, this is I'm really excited to start releasing music again, because I've gotten some good feedback, and getting some listeners going, and kind of growing some, and it's been good. So it's like you were saying, it's really um, obviously, we do this because we want to do it and because it brings us joy, but it is gratifying when
Eh,
people are actually listening or watching or doing whatever. So
and I'll say it, I was listening, man, and I'll tell you, you got some great tunes out there, man. And
appreciate it, man.
I do love the music, and I love what you're doing, man, because it means a lot, not just for me, but to other people that you are reaching out to. So that's one
Yeah,
thing I could say.
I appreciate, I hope that people, understand that message that they're not alone, and just to, for God's sake, reach out to somebody if you're struggling, and especially if you're thinking about hurting yourself.
Mhm,
That's the last thing we want anybody to do. But yeah, part of lot with this new stuff is, I kind of want to move it a little bit further, and just talk about some real world implications about mental health. One of the characters is struggled with mental health issues,
mhm,
and severe mental health issues, and it's just to be able to explore relationships that this character might have with other people and his father and all this other stuff that I'm going to be talking about. I think that it's easy for people to who've never had any kind of mental health issues, or at least that they know about. I think it's easy for them to kind of just blow this kind of thing off, or they don't maybe understand it, and so they don't want to understand it because it makes them feel uncomfortable.
mhm,
So I think when this one particular character, I want people to kind of understand, what it's like to be. I know it's going to be very hard to do, but just to kind of understand what it might like to feel like that, and to try to
right,
put them in his shoes. And so, I think that the way you do that is you just try to bring emotion to it,
mhm,
and so that's why I think the music is an important element to it, because the music for me is, at least, is what sets the vibe. It's what sets
right,
the tone. And because you were saying earlier that the music can just change your mood in an instant,
yeah,
and like when you were having a tough day, and it can. And so I feel like if there's a way, if you can, if you want people to understand something, maybe, or better, then maybe a way to do that is to kind of put them into a mood that you kind of want them to, like, just try to put them into that emotional experience, that emotional state rather,
right,
and then kind of present something and see how they respond to it. And so I think that's I don't know if it's working or whatever, but these are just things that I've been trying, and like I said, it's because I don't have a I'm just kind of doing this by myself now,
mhm,
or with Lou's help, that I'm totally free to do it, and I think um, so it's not just about the mental health, but I also, there's things in the world that I think are going on that I kind of have been wanting to talk about, just in terms of, like, I think corporations are getting too powerful, and
yep,
and um and I don't want, I'm not a political person. None of this is political either.
mhm,
I'm not trying to bring politics into it at all, because I think people are too divided these days, and
yeah, yeah,
and so a
that's the
lot of
same
these
with me.
themes are a lot of these themes are yeah, yeah. So a lot of these themes are going into this, and so hopefully people listen to it, and maybe just get some thinking about, um, just get thinking about life, and thinking about where things are, and really and truly, like we were talking about, who they want to be, and who we all think we want to be, but I feel like we're just kind of stunted by corporations and advertising, and politicians and all that. And so and I think the last thing I kind of wanted to instill with people is that what I've found is that it's not that we all want to go out and change the world, right?
Right,
We all want to make things better, but we don't want to make ourselves better first.
mhm,
So I mean, if you're if you're really struggling, and you're just kind of or you're sick or whatever else, like, take care of yourself first.
Yeah.
And then like try to go out, like get yourself in order and get to a place where you feel good about yourself and good about things in harmony with your environment. And then that's when you get strong. And
Right.
so and then all that comes from within. That doesn't I can't, nobody else can do that for you but you. And so I think that's kind of the next step of the mental health side of things, is that self-care.
Hmm.
And then, once you kind of get that down, you really become somebody that's when you become dangerous, I think, from, if I'm a CEO or
Yeah.
somebody who really wants power, and I see a lot of people out there that are making themselves better, that's when I get scared.
Yeah.
That's when I would get scared. And so I think that the power comes with from within. And so I feel like that's just kind of some of the themes that I'm toying with now, and I'm going to play with, and hopefully people like it and respond to it. And like I said, I think it's just the next logical step from
Mm.
kind of talking about myself and my experiences, just to kind of move forward from that. So
And we're looking forward to hearing the new stuff coming out in 2024. We can't wait, man. Um, wow, Wes,
I appreciate it.
it's I can't believe how when you're having a great conversation, time does fly, and
Yeah,
we're
it
coming,
does. It does.
and we are definitely coming at that end tonight. I can't thank you enough for coming on, man, sharing your story,
Of
how you
course.
started the band, and I'm so looking forward to seeing what you come out in 2024. I cannot wait. I'm looking
Yeah,
forward to
man.
hearing the new material coming out. At the end of this tonight, where can people find you and website stuff? This is a perfect time right now to let everybody know.
Well, the biggest thing, if people want to help me out, is they can just listen on Spotify. I don't think people understand just how important, if they follow on social media, or Instagram, follow on Spotify. That's probably the biggest thing. But also just streaming music. If you enjoy it, please stream it, because that's what really helps. I don't. I'm not even really asking people to buy merchandise or anything like
Mhm.
that. Just to listen to the music and stream it. That's what helps. And if people want to follow along, I've got Instagram is pretty. Me and I've got a couple people that help me out with some of the art, and so I feel like there's some cool art we put up there that kind of revolves around all the stuff that we've talked about. So
Yes.
follow us on Instagram, and then please, if you enjoy listening, please listen and stream, and that's the best way to help us out. So
Without a doubt, man. Well, again, thank you so much for coming on tonight. It was a true honor and pleasure meeting you tonight. Especially hearing the stories. I can't believe how much,
yeah,
an
man.
hour has gone by already. It's been a great
It
time.
goes fast. It goes
It goes
fast.
fast, exactly. As you can see, guys, we're following our dreams, what we're doing right now. Wes has his music, I have the show, and we're going to continuing kicking ass and taking names day by day, man. So follow those dreams, shoot high. Don't let, as the cliches, don't let the man get you down, which is true. But
There you
keep
go.
fighting for what you believe in, guys. Fight in that. And if you do need help, please, 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 people, reach out to anybody. There's always somebody that's willing to help somebody. Definitely take into that consideration. And as I always end my show, everybody, it's nothing but love, peace, and happiness. Good night, and we'll see you next time.